All right. Check one, check two. Oh. All right, welcome. Welcome to the Banjo virtual classroom for the live tab walkthrough for the tune Blue Ridge Cabin Home. I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure that technology is working. Everything seems to be in order. This tune, this tab I mean, is from the Easy But Awesome book of tabs, which contains 10 tabs for both 3 and 2-finger banjo. I'm going to be working through the 3-finger version. If you don't have that book, you will see a link to it in the video description. So you can grab it, and you'll have that along with the other tabs, which I will be continuing to work through in this series. So, and you can check the schedule of upcoming walkthrough videos by going to the link that you see at the bottom of the screen, fingerstylebanjo.com/schedule. That link's also in the video description. There are a few other things in the video description that I should mention. One is this tab is one of over 100 that are now in the Vault library in the Breakthrough Banjo course. So tabs for both 3 and 2-finger banjo in old-time thumb lead, old-time 3-finger, and Scruggs 3-finger style. And in the Banjo virtual classroom, we work through those, and the archives of all the live workshops, including these tab walkthroughs, are part of the course. Also, this particular arrangement is a Banjo Level 2 version. So if you want to learn more about the levels, what they mean, you can find that link in the video description. It's fingerstylebanjo.com/levels. You can also, in this description, find how I recommend going about learning songs from tabs. So one of the main goals of these workshops is to kind of guide you through how these different things in the tab should sound. That's really important to know. That way you can understand how the different techniques of fingerstyle banjo are used to get the different sounds that we want, and ultimately through the can learn to do this sort of thing for yourself. So the song that we're covering today is a classic folk song, classic bluegrass song, Blue Ridge Cabin Home, and it's a great one for getting started. We will be covering it's the kind of the norm for this song. Glad you're catching this one live, Albert. The norm for this song is to play the verse as a solo. So there's this song has a verse and a chorus, and we are going to play the verse part. That's kind of a common convention in bluegrass banjo. So this will be a solo for the verse, and this would be typically, if you're playing this in a bluegrass setting, when you were called the solo, this is typically what the banjo player would play. And if you enjoy these tab walkthrough videos and you want to see more of them, and you are watching this on YouTube, just hit the thumbs up and let me know, and I'll keep making these. All right, let me make sure. Is that all I wanted to say? Oh yes, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, this fingerstyle banjo channel, and you want to see future live workshops, do that, and you will be notified when they're coming on the air, or when one has already aired and you can still watch the replay. Okay, so let's get busy learning this tune. You'll note that there's a little blue box on the tab at the top of the screen, and again, don't be alarmed that I have no head. I am still there behind the tab, but that's more important for you to see than my head. There's nothing going on up there. So that little blue box you see, I will use to denote what measure we're playing at any given point. So why don't I, before I just play this, show you how to play through this tab, I'm just going to sing this a verse of this song, so we have the melody in our head, and we can kind of hear that as we're going through it. So it's in the key of G. There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. There I wandered alone to a place I call home in those Blue Ridge Hills far away. Okay, so that's the melody that we're now going to play on the banjo in a three-finger style way of doing it. By the way, I am going to be coming back after this video to do the two-finger version. So if you're interested in learning that one, then stay tuned. This is a song that works really well in two-finger banjo style. So first things first, let's make sure we're on the same page as far as the tuning goes. So this is in standard G, which is D on the 4th string, G on the 3rd, B on the 2nd, D on the 1st, and G on the 5th. All right. So first measure, we begin with 2 little pickup notes. There's a, in the song, that's what we're doing. That's what we're singing. So it's the open 4th and the open 3rd, both with our thumb. Easy peasy. All right. Now we'll move on to the next measure. Next measure is going to begin with a slide from the 2nd fret of the 3rd string to the 4th fret of the 3rd string. I'm going to use my middle finger here. Okay, with my thumb. But after I hit that 2nd string, I'm going to play the open after I hit the 3rd string, I'm going to hit the open 2nd with my index finger. Now this is a maneuver that's very, very common in banjo. Sometimes trips people up as they see that note coming at the same time as the slide. Looking at it, it sounds more complicated than it is. A way to think about uncomplicating it is just to imagine that you're not doing that slide, and you just play those 2 notes, the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and the open 2nd. And now, do the same exact thing with your right hand, but just slide your left hand, your fretting hand, as you do that, after you play that first note. All right. So now, the next thing we do is play the 5th string, followed by the open 1st string with the middle finger. So those first 4 notes. Back to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string with our thumb. Open 3rd string with our thumb. So all together with the 2 pickup notes we have. All right. Move to the next measure. I'm going to just check. Whoops. Okay. And the next measure, same thing, starts with that same exact slide and then playing that open 2nd after we hit that first note. 5th string and 1st string again, just like before. This time we're keeping our middle finger on that 4th fret of the 3rd string and then moving it back to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So that measure. Now, move to our next measure, and in the song we're moving to a C chord. So let's go ahead and finger that chord. Middle finger, 2nd fret of the 4th string, 3rd string's open, index finger on 1st fret of the 2nd string, ring is on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. And holding that in position, we're going to play the open 3rd, followed by the 2nd string while we're fretting that 1st fret. So thumb and then index. Then 5th string and middle finger, again just holding the C chord, middle finger on the 1st string. So those first 4 notes, what we might call an inside-out roll. Now we're going to bring our middle finger to that 2nd fret of the 3rd string, play that, followed by an index on the 2nd string, still fretting that 1st fret. Then move our index back off of the 3rd string, back to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and play the open 3rd, followed by the 2nd string again, still fretting at the 1st fret. So that whole measure is, again, Next measure, still got our fingers on this C chord. Play the 4th string. Again, don't have to do anything but keep our fingers on that chord. Then the 5th string, followed by our middle finger on the 1st string, which is fretting the 2nd fret. So those first 3 notes. And then, for this part, I usually bring my middle finger down to the 4th fret of the 4th string, then down to the 5th fret. So that whole measure. And I'll play the entire what you see at the top of the screen through before we move to the next section. That's what we have so far. There's a well-beaten path on the old mountainside where I... Now we're going wandered. It's the next section. Let me move the tab. All right. And we're moving now to a D chord. Here, we can play a partial D chord, which is, so index finger, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, middle finger, 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And play the 3rd string with our thumb, then the 5th string followed by the 1st string. 1st string is open. Then, keeping our fingers on that chord shape, we're going to bring our ring finger down to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then follow that with the 2nd string. So that first note with our thumb, the next note with our index finger. Then release that 4th string. We're still having that chord fingered, so we're on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Play that with our thumb. So that whole measure. Again. All right. Still holding this G chord. This D chord. It's partial D chord. Bring the ring finger over to the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Of the 4th string. Follow that with the 5th string on the thumb on the 5th, and then the open 1st with our middle. Play that 4th string again, still fretting at the 4th fret. Release that, play the 4th string at the 2nd fret, fretting that with my index. So that whole measure is... Again. Oops. Now we're coming back to a G chord. Open strings of the banjo. And here, easy enough, open 4th string, then the 5th string and the 1st string, thumb and middle finger. And then open 4th again, and then pull off from the 2nd fret of the 4th string to the open 4th string. And that's plucked again with our thumb. Only one note in this measure that's not plucked with our thumb. Okay. Next measure. Still G chord, still open strings. And this one's all with the thumb. Open 3rd. Actually, almost all with the thumb. Then the next is a pinch, 5th string and 1st string with the middle finger. And then open 4th and open 3rd, just like we opened this song. Because we're going kind of back through the same melody again. Move to this last measure, which should look familiar. Same as our first measure. It's that slide from the 2nd fret of the 3rd string to the 4th fret, followed by the open 2nd string with our index. And then 5th string followed by the open 1st with our middle. Back to the 3rd string, 2nd fret with the thumb. Release to the open 3rd. So, like all together. Now we will play all that you see at the top of the screen, all the way through. check for any questions. Okay. Okay. Move on to this next measure, which is again similar, exactly like we did before. This time we're doing that same slide, 3rd string, 2nd fret to 4th fret, followed by the open 2nd, and then the 5th string followed by the open 1st with the middle. And now keeping our finger on that 4th fret of the 3rd string, play that with the thumb. Back to the 2nd fret, play that with the thumb. So that whole first measure. Move to the next measure here. Back to the C chord again. Play the 3rd string followed by the 2nd string while we're fingering the C chord. 5th string and 1st string while still fingering the C chord. It's just like before. This whole measure just like we did earlier. Now, pick up that middle finger again. Finger the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then play the 2nd string with our index while we're still fretting that 1st fret. Lift it up, play the open 3rd, followed by the 2nd string again with our index. So that whole measure again. Again, this is all similar to how we open this song. Still on our C chord, play the 4th string, then the 5th string followed by middle finger on the 1st string. Again, still fretting that 2nd fret of the 1st string because we're fingering that C chord. So again, those are the first 3 notes. Do the same thing as before, middle finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, then the 5th fret. So that whole measure. Now we're going to go to our D chord again. Again, the only real difference between these first 2 passes through are the way we end it. So the D chord, play the fingering that, partial D again. Then we're going to play 3rd string with the thumb, followed by 2nd string with the index. Then the open 5th, and the 5th string, followed by the open 1st with our middle finger. And then bring that ring again down on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and then play the 2nd string with the index afterwards, while we're still fretting it at the 3rd fret. Lift that ring finger, play the 3rd string and the 2nd string again. So again, that whole measure. Now this is the part that's a little bit different at the very end. All with our thumb all on the 4th string. Thumb on the first play the 4th fret, fretting that with my ring finger. Then the open 4th, 2nd fret of the 4th with my index, 4th fret of the 4th with my ring. So we're transitioning from a D chord back to a G chord, which you can hear. This is a lead. This is like leading to that transition. So this whole thing we see at the top should sound like this. And now let's end this thing. This is our last full measure here. We're back to a G chord. So we'll play the open 3rd, followed by the 5th string, both with our thumb. And then, so that first note is actually the last note in the melody. So this last little bit is just a fill because there's essentially another measure to go. So we're going to fill it. And we're going to play the open 1st string with our middle, followed by the open 2nd with our index. And then we're going to do a pull off from the 3rd fret of the 3rd string to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string using our middle and then our index. And once again, we're going to play that open 2nd after we do that. And And again, to uncomplicate it, first just think about doing it without the pull off, just playing that 3rd fret. And then do the same thing with your right hand, just pull off as you do it. So those 4 notes, sorry. And then, okay, so this again, what you see at the top here. That is how you play it. All right, looks like we're good on questions and everything is clear. Let's see. I'm gonna just play through this whole thing slowly, so disregard what you see at the top. I'm just gonna play through the entire tab slowly so you know how it all sounds. That is Blue Ridge Cabin Home. I should say here too that one of the reasons for putting together this series, Easy But Awesome tabs, is to kind of reinforce the idea that you really don't have to overcomplicate these things for them to sound great. And it's a tendency and a temptation to try to get more and more complicated as your skills improve. But really focusing on playing things fairly straightforward. You know, this is still a very banjo-y way to play this song, but it's not too complicated, and it's simple enough that you can get it down and play it with good rhythm and timing. And you can kind of really focus on articulating those melody notes and making this particular arrangement sound really good. If you do that, if you really focus on getting the simpler sounding arrangements down well, you'll be in far better shape than if you keep working on trying to find more and more complex material. Getting something like this down cold and getting it to where you can play it with good rhythm and timing, that's really most of the battle. You could play this in a jam or anywhere. It sounds just fine, because what really matters is you're playing a melody that people like. This is a song people like, and so if you just present that, kind of give it a good treatment, people are going to like it. How fancy, whether you get super fancy with it, really is just icing on the cake, and matters a whole lot less to the ultimate enjoyment of people who are listening than I think we sometimes think. So I want folks to really focus on these simpler stuff, and resist the temptation to play to get more complicated too soon. Hopefully that helps. Like I said, I'm going to be coming back probably in about 5, maybe 10 minutes with the 2-finger version of this. As you'll see, that's will sound great as well. In the Breakthrough Banjo course, I take everyone through learning 2-finger first. There's a lot of great reasons why it's great to learn 2-finger thumb lead style banjo before you jump into 3-finger. It really makes your life a lot easier, and you learn this awesome style that even if you just play that finger style, 2-finger, all your life, you're going to make great banjo music. So, all right, enough about that. I will see you in the next video inside the virtual classroom. Thanks for watching.